Alright, what's up guys? Today we're just going to be doing a little quick update on how my life is going during these weird times of a quarantine. I figured James has done a lot of these kinds of updates in regards to his career, his professional trajectory, and just school and overall his life. Figured give you guys more insight onto a different aspect and different perspective of I guess another person's life, which is mine. So might be useful to some of you, might not be, might be pointless, but there's nothing else to do in this quarantine right now. I've exhausted all my options and I'm hella tired. So this is where we're at. Today, I guess we're just gonna go over essentially what it took for me to be a freelancer and how all this is kind of affecting me. Long story short, how I became a freelancer was photography was always the side thing. Picked up a camera, just kept taking photos, took a lot of photos, took even more photos, and then where things I guess really started was taking photos at different events, especially dance shows, sorority events, and then what else is there? I took photos on a trip to New York where it was an arts immersion program. And this was through Stanford, so everything was covered. So I figured, might as well capture this whole trip on my camera and just kind of share my experience. From that, I got hired as a quote unquote intern for the Stanford Arts Department. And from there, things just kind of snowballed. And I was essentially shooting every other weekend. Not the first year I did it, but the following year when I was moved back to the Bay Area, once I got a full-time job. Essentially I worked from Monday to Friday. Friday night I would shoot, Saturday night I would shoot, Sunday sometimes I would shoot. But that was my life for a good year, dude. Exhausting, but it was fun. Not the most fun because of that full-time job, but fast forward a little bit, moved home, didn't know what I was doing, taught a photography class for this nonprofit that worked with not mentally disabled, but just kids with mental illnesses. And their focus was just to get kids exploring and just being more creative and all that good stuff. So figured it's a nice gig. Worked a little bit here and there, took photos on the side, which I guess at that point became my main thing. Got hired as a case manager at the nonprofit, so I was working more directly with the kids. And essentially what a case manager does is just you're a big brother to whatever kid you're assigned to. You work with them, their families, and just kind of assist them throughout the whole I guess system of education, healthcare, and just overall how to kind of cope with life. So I did that for a good almost year and a half, and then I was I'm burned out. I can't do this. I don't think this is for me. Fast forward a little bit, did a coding boot camp, finished it, didn't want to do that either. So I was you know what, I tried. There goes $10,000. That was fun. But fast forward a little bit, I was you know what, I've been doing this photography thing for a minute now, so let's try and do this full time. I don't know why I didn't think of this in the beginning, but at that point I was what do I have to lose? I got nothing at this point. The only thing I'm really stressed out about was my living situation, which was just a whole mess in 2018. So I'm glad that got sorted out. And essentially from 2018, around I'd say around this time actually. So at this point it's 2 years that I've done this full time. I was just saying yes to everything that came my way. Did free work. Just kind of took photos of everything I could, and not necessarily push it on people and market myself yo, I can do this for you, or let me take photos for you and this blah blah blah. But it was just more of yo, I got the skill set. Let me know if I can be of help, like at any point. So I think at that point, my biggest work was still with Stanford. Worked with a lot of different groups and departments, and essentially from there, it started kind of like trickling and started networking with different people and just did all sorts of shoots here and there. And over time, it just kind of adds up. And I mean, by no means it was just a stable lifestyle. Like I was traveling every other weekend, and I don't know, it just was a lot different from what I had done from like right after college up until then. And it was just different, man. I was so exhausted, but the traveling was so like worth it that I got to kind of work at my own pace, work with a lot of different projects and different people. And then I was able to just kind of make my own schedule. I think the biggest downside was just like I was working most weekends, so didn't really get to see a lot of people. But at that point, you just kind of figure it out, and yeah, you just figure it out. And if you really want to see like your friends, you'll go see them. So I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But 2 years of just taking tons of photos, working with tons of people, a lot of different projects, and I don't know, things just kind of clicked and worked out. The first year was a lot of like just quote unquote hustling, but it was just a lot of work, dude. Just had to be like financially smart about everything I did. What else did I do? Yeah, I think that was like the key point in terms of like surviving. I was able to like just be fine for the last like 2 years with whatever income I got from photography, and it's picking up every year. So at this point, like I can live comfortably by myself, but in terms of like a really long-term goal, I want to need to pick up the slack, because I don't know how I'm gonna like take care of another person or even like a dog at this point. But yeah, it was fun. The first year was really like crazy and like thrilling and like let's try and figure this out. This past year, things picked up and I was like able to essentially hit a very niche market, and that was just like fitness in general and powerlifting even more specific. Started working with a gym, started working with like a fitness apparel brand, started working for all these athletes, and just like things just kind of picked up, and people just need like social media content, and I have a camera, so things kind of worked out. And you just kind of have to like stand your ground in terms of like putting forth how much you're worth and like your rates and how much you're going to charge, blah blah blah. So made that work out for me. I basically have access to a gym just because I'm like doing a bartering system with them. Take photos for them, I get coached, and then I get access to the gym. Like, why not? Fitness apparel brand, do like a lot of remote work, and it's just a lot of social media marketing and just advertising work. So a lot of things behind the scenes. But overall, that aspect of, I guess, photography is super fun, just because you get to like meet all these superstars in the lifting community. Yeah, I think those two are like the most different things about this past year, and the work from that has just been like a lot. And it's, I don't know, it's been like more, I guess, planned in a sense, where it's just like I got a lot of consistent work from the Bay Area, mainly from Stanford, and then got a lot of work from all these different athletes and just taking photos for them. Got work with the gym, got work with the fitness apparel brand, and it's just like things kind of clicked and worked, and I felt like a lot of momentum was picking up. And coronavirus hit. That was, bro, I was like moping for like 2 weeks. It was pretty sad. I don't know if that's like, if you guys can see that in terms of like the timeline of when I released different videos, but 2 weeks of just like misery. That kind of added with like my powerlifting, because things were like going super well, and then coronavirus hit, and then just like a year and a half worth of work is gone. But lucky enough, I guess I say quote unquote a lot, but like I'm like fine in terms of like being financially stable. I've saved up enough, and at this point I'm just trying to like find side hustles to kind of make more money, just in case like anything else happens. I don't even know, like freaking like Henneken virus or something. But yeah, it's quite a time. Like I've been, because I mean at this point it's like, why travel? So I've been using all the reward points I got, or the travel points I got from all these flights the last 2 years, to redeem it for like gift cards, so I can go eat fast food and all that. So it's not really tapping into my savings or like checkings or anything like that. So I'm living like a zero cost life at this point. Other than rent, which is like okay. I'm like fortunate enough to like have a fairly cheap rent. Let's say compared to like the Bay Area or something. I don't know how people are gonna survive up there, dude. I don't know how I would survive if I lived up there still. Because at this point my rent is like, I'd say like a third of what I paid up there. So props to them, however they're figuring it out. This is long. Didn't think I was talking that much, but yeah. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Probably gonna try and figure out what to do at this point, because photography is hella unstable unless like you've made it. But I thought I was gonna get there, but at this point it's just like very discouraged. So gotta figure out I guess at this point plan C. Whatever. Just figure it out. Gotta hustle. My 2 weeks of misery and moping is over, so I can't go back to that. Yeah. Alright. Catch you guys later.